Dragon Ball Super episode 92 is now officially in the history books, and joining me here today to talk about Dragon Ball Super episode 93 is my good friend Emish is live, as we're going to go on ahead and share our thoughts and predictions as to what we expect to see in Dragon Ball Super episode 93. And again guys, just to give you guys a fair warning, if your opinions differ than ours, if you guys have anything to add, feel free to go on ahead and comment down below as to what you guys expect to see in next week's episode. Now Emish, we have two very big things happening next week. We have the resurrection of Frieza and seeing Frieza be brought back for 24 hours, and we also get to see for the first time Kale's berserker-like mode actually be placed into an effect, especially basing everything off of the episode 93 preview. We get to see how Kale finally transforms into this legendary Super Saiyan Broly-like form, and I wanted to get your quick thoughts first and foremost on the whole Frieza situation, because based on the episode preview, it looks like Goku does walk away at a certain point after Frieza makes the offer that he makes. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that. In what do you think Frieza's offer is going to be in terms of asking Goku upon request? Because since Goku even said it himself that he needs, he needs terrifying power, he needs evil power, and that being Frieza having to be very powerful in his own right, what do you think Frieza's offer is going to be to Goku to get him to join the team? Because having him a part of this, I can only assume that it's either going to be life or the promise of immortality, because of the whole concept that he wanted immortality back during the Namek saga. So do you think that it's going to be something similar, or is he going to want something entirely different? What do you think?
Well, first off, it's going to be exactly what you said. That's what I feel. I think that's what everybody with a general idea as to who Frieza is and what his backstory is would agree, that he would potentially want life or permanent life to never die, because he has this continuous habit of being killed. Right. So with that being said, the best way to defeat that is to be immortal, right? But the only problem with that is that even if he did obtain immortality, he could still be erased by a god of destruction anyway. Right. He could still be Hokkaido, he could still be wiped out by somebody much higher than him. So it just, I would say that, yeah, that would probably hit the nail on the head there. But by Dragon Ball's terms, it could be something else. As to what it could possibly be, I don't know. I'm not good at like foreseeing things or predicting things that are not more than likely to happen, I suppose, because so far we can predict things in every episode, and all of a sudden it's just like, what? They took a drastic turn as to how they're going to portray everything. Yeah, so at this point, I'm just like, bruh, I don't even know at this point. But I will say I agree with you when you talk about the concept of life and possibly teasing him with the Super Dragon Balls or something like that. I agree with that. I love the overall concept. When Goku's down there, he's smiling. He looks to be very, not excited, but very, pleased to see Frieza again, because, because that's his arch nemesis, Yeah. Very business oriented.
No, very. And I think Frieza, judging based on his demeanor, he doesn't seem to be happy, but at the same time, he looks to be very calm. So what I wanted to ask you is, do you think we're going to see them kind of spar next week? Because I don't see Frieza going into his golden form without there being a purpose. Maybe Goku asks for him to showcase his power just to see where he may stand, or Frieza just may say to him, if you want this to be complete, you're gonna have to fight me right here and right now in my golden form. So my question to you is there a possible chance of seeing them spar, down there, even momentarily, just to see where he stands, in terms of being, a placeholder for the team? What do you think?
Once again, two things. It could be that Goku's in that fighting stance, because we've seen it previously, he is in his fighting stance. Right. From behind his point of view. He's in his fighting stance, so they could maybe just tease us that they're about to fight, then all of a sudden Frieza says, no, you know what, I'll help you, let's just go, right? that would be a comment, something expected by Dragon Ball Super's standards. Right. But because we've gotten sparring matches from everybody, from potential participants of the Tournament of Power, it only makes sense that they would allow us to see, even if it's just a few animations here and there of them sparring with each other, and then they just quickly say, okay, let's go, because they have to also focus on the concept of Kale as well. Right. They can't, which is, I feel like that's what they probably will do, like they did in this episode, where the last half of the episode was basically revolving around Universe 6, and then they quickly went back to Universe 7, had some dialogue, and that was that. And then Krillin got punked, which was great to see, by the way. But yeah, I would say that's more than likely possible. I felt as if
the whole Caulifla thing was kind of rushed, because they could have added, I'm sorry, but I think they could have removed the whole Pride Trooper scene, because we had enough of that with them having to chill and do all that kind of stuff. That could have been saved to be placed to where they could have added more time to Caulifla and Kaba possibly even sparring with one another. just to, you know, better up each other. But in terms of Kale, right? Well, what are your overall thoughts as to what she's gonna do next week? Because I mean, we spoke about this off camera. I think that, judging based on what we saw in this episode, I think that she knows what it is. I think that Kale knows what Super Saiyan is. It's just the concept of where once she taps into it, or once she does it, she has no control, unlike the other two. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, what do you expect to see from Kale next week?
That would make a lot of sense if that's why she's always so very shy and timid and scared and hesitant, right? Her demeanor looks like she's just doesn't want to really interact with people, doesn't want to get triggered, so that's why she avoids everybody, to avoid feeling
conflict,
too much emotional distress or anger, to that point where she just bursts out and just Kakarot, you know, like,
no, not that again.
Yeah, right. But I think that's, it's possible. I would agree with you. I just, from what the spoilers tell us and then from what we're seeing, it looks like Caulifla is just teasing her in a sense. Not teasing her like, oh, you can't do it. No, but she's just telling her, come on, just try it one time. Just try it one time. And then all of a sudden she does it and she just bursts out looking all sorts of crazy. And everybody's like, what the heck is this? This is nothing like what I just transformed it. You just turned, you were like 5 feet. Now you're 7'5". You're brolic. You gained at least 175 pounds tops.
At least, right?
Right, at least. And it's just crazy. So I would say that, how would you feel if she did know about this the entire time? How would they actually, obviously I don't think they'll give us a backstory to it, but it would be weird to know that they had this concept all along. And it would be a good way to just dismiss the fact that the whole concept of explaining the legendary Super Saiyan form, right? This could just be something unique to her, very similar to how when the Saiyans first transformed, they look a lot more diesel and buffed up than they normally do, as you know, compared to nowadays.
Right.
Goku, when he first transformed, he looked fucking, he was huge. Like, this guy was, you know, in the gym, like he was swole, but it was gains of clock for this guy. But now they're just throwing everything into the episodes just to get ready for the tournament, and that's obvious. I will say though, did you catch the animations that they used for Caulifla's energy beams? The same way Broly's were looked.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
when he used to change like the color around his surrounding.
Right, and the little orbs, and then it just expands and blows everything up.
Yes,
exactly
they did the exact same thing for Broly. Exactly.
So it's pretty amazing. But I gotta agree with you though. As soon as I saw the scene with the Topo and the Pride Troopers sitting down in their little, you know, Topo in his suit, I was like, bro, this again, like, we don't need this. This is not needed.
Yeah, I think it's been done like way too much, and I think if they wanted to just throw in the idea like, hey, we're gonna get the other troopers to defend the universe while we're gone, they could have already, you know, expressed that episodes ago.
Last week, or exactly, the episode where Kasserole was trying to save the cat. They could have done all that in that episode and just been done with it. But what do you think about Moscow's team?
Moscow's fighters look really cool. I'm not gonna lie to you. They look really cool. And I think that they're gonna bring it. I think that unlike Team Universe 10 and 9, who are scrubs, I think that this team is going to be very formidable, to the point where I can see 17 and 18 having their way with this universe, just because it makes the most sense, I think, with cyborgs and machines and all this, like, you know, like high-tech technology. And the fact that that one dude, I think it was translated to be the Dr. Gero of that universe, you know? So he's a brilliant scientist and a brilliant engineer and stuff. So it'll only make sense for them to collide against fighters of that caliber, in terms of like cyborgs versus androids, because I think that would fit the mold. I mean, you're gonna have Saiyans versus Saiyans, you're gonna have Frieza versus Frost, you're gonna have all types of people collide. So I think it'll only make sense to see androids fight the cyborgs and these machines during the tournament. So but I think that, what was that?
Yeah, you know what I want to see for next week? I'm hoping, I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't even see a glimpse of it this week, and this episode was Caulifla's fighting style.
Really?
She powered up. I wanted to see it. I thought we would see maybe a sparring match between Cabba and Caulifla at this point. Maybe just a small one, you know, just to see what she can do. Because you transform, I want to see what you can do, not just shoot a beam into the sky. So I hope we get to see something along the lines of that next week. Maybe just to showcase what they, you know, what they can be capable of, especially if you're marketing a character this way. Same thing with Kale. After she transforms, will she start smashing rocks and just going crazy, or will she just stand there and, you know, Kakarot, you know? But and I'm just joking when I say Kakarot. It's just, you know, it's a habit when we think about Broly. But I hope they showcase what they can do. That would be nice going into the tournament, so that way the hype factor is legitimate. But I hope, that's my biggest hope. That's like my biggest thing right now for next week, Alex.
I was gonna ask you, with everyone having to be shocked that Frieza is gonna come back, do you think that at some point, I know we spoke about this before, But do you think that at some point Frieza is going to prove to be a formidable ally for Team Universe 7? Because with Goku having to say at the end of the preview, he said, you know, you're gonna fight to defend our universe, like, you're gonna have to. But, like, you know, to a degree where Frieza's already dead, I feel as if, like, he has nothing more to lose. He's lost everything: his army, his family, his positioning in the universe. So I'm just really curious as to what they're gonna offer him, or what his offer may be, because having to look at him going into next week's episode, I'm thinking here that, in my prediction, I think that they are gonna spar momentarily before you know, he agrees to go with him. But also, I think that what's gonna disappoint Frieza greatly is seeing how strong Goku has gotten throughout this entire time, because it's kind of like a slaughter to put Super Saiyan Blue Goku against Frieza now, because of how powerful Goku has become now. So I think that momentarily, I think Frieza's gonna tell Goku, I want to see how strong you've become ever since that time where we fought, you know, before, just to see, like, where you might be. And I think that he's gonna be very disappointed. Either that, or you might get outclassed. But, like, do you see Frieza getting any sort of, like, buff or any sort of, like, power increase to, like, better be suited in the tournament? Or do you think that he's just gonna go in the way he is now and let's just roll the dice and see how well he does?
Honestly, man, I hope not.
No, really? Why?
Well, because he's been trapped in the cocoon this whole time. You don't get strong sitting down. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, where are they going to pull this from, right?
But he has been very angry, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Very,
but,
very angry.
You know, yeah, but he's not Kale. You know,
he's not. Yeah, well, yeah.
He's not Kale at the end of the day. So it would be disappointing. It would be good, because I think after we see what he can do in the Tournament of Power, and if he has his moments, which he will have his moments in the spotlight, that we'll be happy with it, and we'll just be hyped, and we'll be, yo, did you see fucking Frieza? Oh my god, that shit was amazing. You know, but then after that, when we really look back at it, it's just like, damn, that was an ass pull, that was an ass pull, that was rushed, that was rushed, that was rushed. At the end of the day, you know, we all watch the same show, right? So
oh, of course, of course,
yeah.
we do.
yeah, we all watch the same thing.
But the one thing I do want to talk about real fast is the idea that they weren't able to wake up Majin Buu at all. We saw Cherokee drums and food.
Dude, don't even get me started on that, man.
What did you think about that? And I was right. I was right about him being fat. I was right.
Dude, I want to come here and rant, bro. I don't even want to get started on Boo. Like, it's just so disappointing when you see he looks so stupid and useless, and he's not. That's what bothers people, I think. So to everybody who's upset after watching this episode and just cringes at how much he was snoring and opening his stupid ass mouth and just, you know, just sitting there, laying there, just doing nothing yet again when we really need him the most, doing nothing yet again. I mean, at this point, you just scratch your head and just say, fuck it, like, you know, fuck this shit, flip your desk over and just
no, because that's what I was gonna ask, is like the idea that, but do you think they're saving him for something, or is this really it?
I'm done with him. That's
you done with Boo?
This was, I mean, all right, Alex, it's very apparent that this arc was the arc to give everybody what they want. It was the arc to make people who are not relevant, right. To make people great again, right? I have a lot of puns. I just noticed I'm putting a lot of puns in this conversation. Thank you. But it's this was their chance, and they just threw it out. You know, they just threw out the water. I guess ironically, all of this happened immediately after we got confirmation about Oob, which is ironic. So I would say that's the next thing that they could possibly incorporate him in there with, whether it be merging together or whatever. I don't know how they're gonna take it. Just whatever happens, happens. I guess Oob is our last chance. It's all on Oob now at this point.
So I also wanted to ask you, do you think we're gonna see Kale spar with someone next week, or do you think it's gonna be the same? So you want it to happen?
That's what I want. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I just said that a little while ago. I was saying that's what I want to see. I want to see them sparring. I want to see what they're capable of. I want to get a glimpse of what they can do.
But do you think it's probable to happen? Because I mean, if that was prone to happen, we would have gotten that from Kaba and Caulifla.
Exactly. And the fact that they're scared of her, according to the spoilers, just shows, all right, yeah, let's just be on our way. Let's go head off for the tournament. You know, remember, Kale, we're your friends. You're on my team. You're on our team. I feel like that's how they're gonna talk to her.
And based on the translations, it said that they're gonna put lots of faith in her and her potential, because she has great potential, and you know. Yeah,
because of her power. At this point, she's just a powerhouse. But I think I just really want to see what Caulifla can do, because they keep referring to her as a very knowledgeable fighter, that she is a genius. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see what she can do for sure. I want to see Caulifla's fighting style. I think we know what to expect from Kale. you know, smashing people into the arena and stuff like that. That's gonna be so enjoyable to watch, especially in 2017. I just can't wait for it, man. Kaba's gonna have his moments too. He's gonna be really
hopefully
cool and
because
about
after he asked
her.
her.
The Saiyans always have their spot, man. You know the Saiyans. This story is about them essentially for the most part. So
I was gonna say,
like
where would you rank Caulifla's Super Saiyan ability now? Because I don't know if you saw in the preview, it looks like she was like a Super Saiyan 2, did she not?
Yeah, it looked like it, but I don't think that's the case. I just think because of these Saiyans being more advanced compared to the Saiyans of Universe 7, that it only makes sense that when they power up now, because they're already ahead of Universe 7, the old Saiyans, right? The older back in the day Saiyans, because they're ahead of them in this aspect, it kind of makes sense that they would be this strong after they power up. Do I agree with it entirely? No, because of the way they portrayed it. Like you said, the whole concept of bringing it out from your back and all this other crap, that wasn't really needed. I would have liked to see Caulifla be angry. I mean, because it just kind of throws everything out the window. You know, this whole concept of in order to turn to a Super Saiyan, it comes in the response to a need, not a desire. You have to create that need. So this kind of just threw all of that out of the window. But perhaps this is how it works for Universe 6 Saiyans. I don't know, you know. But I'm hoping that we see something from next week. Will we? Probably not, because they want to save it for the Tournament of Power. But either way, hyped.
Frieza is coming back next week. It's been a long time since we've actually got to see him. Oddly enough, for the English dub, we're going into the ROF arc, and now in the Japanese original show, we have, you know, Frieza coming back, and it's just like, I find that to be a little coincidental. But post your comments down below, guys. What are your overall thoughts on Frieza having to come back? Is he going to spar with Goku? What are your overall thoughts on Kale? Is she going to spar with her teammates to see where she stands? Post your comments down below, guys. Thank you all for watching. If you guys are fans, don't forget to subscribe. Leave a like down below if you guys enjoyed the discussion. Also, be sure to go on ahead and subscribe to Emish's Live. I'm going to go on ahead and link his channel down below. Any final thoughts on Krillin and what happened with Beerus? Because that was just the best, I think.
It's good that they keep incorporating Beerus at these key moments when he has to assert his power, right? Do it or I'll destroy you. End of story. That's the best way to incorporate Beerus at this point. I love that.
And plus he was like complaining that he was just like, why Earth? Like, you know, like what is going on? Like what's wrong with you people? And then Krillin's like, well, I'm just upset that Goku lied. And he was like, all right, tell you what, either compete or die. And he was like, all right, I'll compete.
It was kind of annoying for him to just stand there, act like he's the best thing since sliced bread, though. Like Krillin, he was just standing there like, oh, you need me, like, you know, had his hands crossed and stuff like that. Like, look at how many times has Goku fought for Krillin? You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, come on, man, like,
and risked his life for Krillin too.
And he literally said, oh, I would have been scared. And Goku said, oh, Goku told him, oh, I didn't tell you because I thought you would be scared and not enter, right? And then Krillin was like, you know, he was like, yeah, I would be scared. You would? Yeah, I would be scared. That's why I'm not entering. I'm like, bro, really? Like, he's scared. He doesn't want to enter because he's scared. We're back to this BS again, you know? So it kind of hurts Krillin, I think, his character and his demeanor. People are not going to be, you know, they're not going to like what I just said. But
he's gonna be one of the I think early ones to get thrown out by somebody at least. That's what I'm thinking at least.
Krillin's been a bitch. That's not going to change. Apparently.
But let us know what you guys think down below, and what are your overall thoughts, guys? Also on Moscow's fighters, because we get to see a lot of them in the episode, and in which I think are going to prove to be very formidable, because Moscow looked very excited about, you know, seeing them. So thank you all for watching, guys. As always, tune back in for more, and we'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Have a great night, guys. Peace.